I get in there, I rip off my jacket, and there's a full-length mirror there for in the locker room, and I look at myself and I'm like, oh, no wonder.
So that's actor Michael Rooker on the moment he realized he looked like trouble. Honestly, behind the scratchy voice, the menacing looks, Michael Rooker's a really sweet guy. He talks about playing the kind of on-screen bad guy you want to root for. I'm Tom Power. You're listening to Q.
I think it's because I don't have eyebrows.
Yeah, or
and because because when I think eyebrows are what communicate a lot of like.
Are you getting a shot of those eyebrows?
You know,
right
like if you're telling a joke, your eyebrows are providing a lot of subtext.
Yeah, that's
and
it.
I have none.
I mean, I was sitting across from Father John Misty, and I still don't know if that's true. And once you're done pausing this and zooming in on his eyebrows, we'll talk about the pure comedy of Father John Misty, a musician who doesn't always want to be taken seriously. All this plus a live performance with Hollerado and conversations with Anna Paquin and Beyries today on Q. I think it's fair to say that most action movies have two types of characters: your good guys and your bad guys. And no matter how much a bad guy can try, the good guy always seems to win. As a frequent Hollywood villain, Michael Rooker knows that storyline very well. You might know him as the southern redneck hunter Merle Dixon on The Walking Dead, the blue-skinned Ravager Yondu in Guardians of the Galaxy. He leads a crew of space pirates who go around the galaxy stealing from others.
When I picked you up as a kid, these boys wanted to eat you.
That's a clip of Michael Rooker as Yondu from the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. He also stars in the sequel to the blockbuster Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Yondu is just one of the many villains Michael has played over the years, and during this interview, you'll hear us talking about a few of them and why Michael is drawn to them. Let's get to it. We got limited time here.
Oh, let's get it.
Michael, how are you?
Come on, dude, I'm good.
How's it going? You doing all right?
Yeah, having fun, running around like a crazy person, doing all these interviews and stuff for the movie, and it's all cool, all fun.
I got a question for you. We were talking a little bit earlier about how, and I'm sure you hear this a lot, you seem to play the bad guy an awful lot. I want to know, was there a moment in your life that you looked in the mirror and said, "Oh yeah, I'm kind of the bad guy"?
Well, there's a story that it's a long story. I'll make it short. I'm on my way to school one day talking about trudging in the snow. This Chicago, deep cold. We have ice and snow that's built up 2-3 feet. There's nowhere to walk, so I'm walking on the island in between the cars on my way to high school.
Yeah.
And as I'm walking, I see people going like this, clicking their door locks.
Oh,
and as I'm walking, I'm seeing people click all their door locks, and with each and every click, I can feel the rage inside me getting more and more and more I'm about to explode here.
Right.
And I finally get to my class, get to school. I burst open the doors, get into my class. I had gym, first period. I get in there, I rip off my jacket, and there's a full-length mirror there for in the locker room, and I look at myself and I'm like, oh, no wonder. Dude, I got the long green army jacket on. I got hair out to here. I got what looks like a goatee, little fluffy stuff. But I look like this teenage real trouble coming down your way, you know.
You would have locked your door too.
I would have totally locked my door too. That's right. And, I'm like, oh, geez, no wonder, man. No wonder they're locking their doors.
But there's an old adage. There's an old adage in film that villains get the best lines. Do you agree with that?
I don't know if I can agree with that, but I do agree that characters that are not complete villains, that are they vacillate in between somewhere in that gray area, are the ones that I dig.
Well, and you're rarely pure evil.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I was talking about that earlier today, and I don't think I've ever played because those characters become those are like cartoons. It's just so black and white that I've never played that kind of role before. So.
But it's very, very human roles you've always played. I'm curious about Yondu in this sequel to the film, because you don't look like yourself, and you also look like a bit of a cartoon. You have blue skin, you have this red mohawk. I'm sure the makeup takes hours to put on. Do these physical elements help you become more menacing in your role?
No, not at all. I even forget that they're on.
What do you mean?
The makeup. I just forget the makeup's there. I forget the mohawk's there. I just if any outer elements still exist when I'm playing the role, it's the wardrobe. You know, the wardrobe is the first movie. The wardrobe was a real leather. It was heavy. It was. You felt it. It was really gave you this way of walking and everything, and how you move. And the second one, it was the same wardrobe, but they made it the jacket and the duster out of a lighter material. They knew what they wanted because they had these big fans and they blow, and this duster leather long thing would flow and shoot out the just it looked so bad. Now I know why they changed material, because this looks way better on camera.
For all the makeup we just talked about, he's not a typical bad guy. He has a soft spot for Peter Quill, the film's main character. Yeah. He's a villain, but he's got heart. Tell me about walking that line as an actor.
Well, you know, I got to tell you, that's kind of what I'm good at, you know? Even my first movie, Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, you know, that when you look and you watch that role and you hear some of the lines and you see you watch this movie, you watch this character, you realize that this guy he's bad, okay? But, wow, what a horrible childhood this dude must have had to have influenced his entire life and may sort of cause this kid to grow up to be this animal, you know, right?
I want to talk about another one of your roles. I want to talk about Merle Merle Dixon in The Walking Dead, this expert hunter who survived the apocalypse. He's got a bad temper. He likes to get on people's nerves. Merle isn't just ruthless, but the character is racist. He's misogynist. In order to play something like that, I want to go back to what we were talking about earlier. Do you, as an actor, need to see some redeeming qualities in him?
Not at that time. You don't need to see it, but there are other qualities in him, you know. And really, when you think about it, being in that position caused the audience to end up having empathy and just really being. It's a sad situation.
So how do they treat you when they come up to you when you're at you're in the street and someone recognizes you from The Walking Dead? What are they like?
Oh,
Are they afraid?
Not at all. They're like, oh my God, I love you, man. And so it's kind of cool. It's kind of fun and interesting that people really dig this character and being in the position of being the actor in these roles. It's like, wow.
Do you ever get tired of being offered the bad guy roles?
Well, you don't have to take him.
Yeah, do you ever think about not taking them?
Well, I do, yeah.
Yeah.
When Henry came out and when I was being recognized for Henry, I didn't do a serial killer type role for a long time, or you know, it's just like, okay, you know, I've done it. I'm done with it. I want to move on and do something else, and I did. I ended up getting other types of jobs, and I chose specifically something against that.
Are there roles out there that you wish you could play that you don't get offered?
Oh, many.
Yeah, like what?
Throw Mama from the Train.
But
I love Danny DeVito, so I love, and my humor is the type of humor that's a frying pan over the head humor.
Yeah, right.
You know, very low bass humor. That's me. I love that stuff.
You're a Three Stooges fan, is that right?
A total Three Stooges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you see yourself in a
crowbar in the mouth?
I have to tell you, between the mechanics of the fist to the face and now my favorite humor is crowbar to the mouth, I have never been this terrified in a radio interview. I'm so happy we have the cameras on. There's a real interesting contrast is that people know you from these films and they see you as this kind of menacing guy, and then we find out you like silly slapstick humor.
Oh, totally.
Yeah?
Oh, totally. I grew up with it, so it's part of me.
You know what I love about talking to you today was that I want to go back to every single film. I don't know if you feel this way. I want to go back to every single film that has a bad guy in it and reconsider them after talking to you.
Reconsider the bad guy.
I want to reconsider.
They're not so bad.
Good memoir title. What do you think?
That's right.
Better
Reconsider
than,
the bad guy.
Better than crowbar to the mouth. If you or someone close to you has ever been diagnosed with an illness you never saw coming, you know what it's like to suddenly have the most important things come into sharp focus. It's a scenario Nixon Boyd is familiar with. He's the lead guitarist and songwriter of Ottawa pop-punk band Hollerado. And in 2014, he was diagnosed with testicular cancer. And they've said making the album during that difficult time not only made them stronger, it reminded them about the importance of having fun making music together. This is Hollerado, performing the title track to their new album, Born Yesterday, in the Q studio. Still to come on Q, Anna Paquin joins me to talk about why acting roles are better when they're messy. But first, Father John Misty is in Studio Q for a chat and a special stripped-down performance from his latest record, Pure Comedy. If you plug his name into Google, you'll find article after article dissecting his music, dissecting his personal life, debating whether that cynic on stage is a persona or actually him. But while he's being watched online, Father John Misty is staring right back. His new album, Pure Comedy, flips the mirror on internet and social media and forces all of us to think about how we use these tools. If you don't know him, Father John Misty is the stage name of songwriter Josh Tillman. He dropped by our studio the other day for a conversation and to play a few songs for us. This is Father John Misty on cue.
Naturally, the dying man wonders to himself, has commentary been more lucid than anybody else? And had he successfully beaten back the rising tide of idiots, dilettantes, and fools that were on his watch while he was alive? Lord, just a little more time. Oh, in no time at all, this will be the dear still past. So says the dying man once I'm in the box. Just think of all the overrated hacks running amok, and all of the pretentious, ignorant voices that will go unchecked, the homophobes, hipsters, and 1%. The false feminists he'd managed to detect. Oh, who will critique them once he's left? Oh, in no time at all, this will be the dear still. What he'd give for one more day to rate and analyze the world made in his image, as of yet to realize what a mess, oh, to leave behind. Eventually the dying man takes his final breath, but first checks his newsfeed to see what he's about to miss. And it occurs to him a little late in the game, we leave as clueless as we came. From the rented heavens to the shadows in the cave, we'll all be wrong someday.
Josh, thanks for coming in to talk about the record.
Of course.
So was there a specific moment, was there an event that kickstarted how you wanted to do this record?
I mean, the record really did kind of, it's a more personal record than maybe at first blush, you know. And it was made kind of in a pretty isolated, lonely state. I was doing a lot of speed, like a lot.
Right.
And moved to New Orleans to kind of drop out. And
to dry out or to?
But yeah, sort of both. Which people always go like, ha ha ha, great place to get sober.
Yeah, right.
But it takes a while for your emotions to sort of come back online when you've been, you know, when you've been drinking that much and kind of that much like amphetamines and stuff. And so I did make this record in kind of like a bizarrely, like robotic state, you know. It was like it's just like a very, at least the first 5 songs or so were made in like a very kind of, just like a purely, just like only using your brain to write songs.
As opposed to?
You're like your soul.
Right, your heart.
Which was sort of dormant for a little bit.
What does that do to your songwriting when you're able to turn off neck down?
Well, I mean, it does exactly what you think it would do, you know. Pure Comedy was the first song that I wrote, you know, and for the record. And that's a pretty good, I mean, I think I've wanted to write a song like that for a long time, but it felt daunting, you know, and also just kind of, I think having some premonition in terms of like what the blowback or the reaction to that would be.
Did the fact that you have
so I was
like
always a little hesitant.
After your last record, I mean, I'm willing to say that more people knew Father John Misty than ever before. Like your profile became larger, your platform became larger.
You'd be good.
Was it at this point because you had such a large platform that you were able to talk about these things that maybe in the past it wasn't so easy to talk about?
This is not the time in the career when I was supposed to turn in like a 75-minute like existential new age album. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So no, it definitely, I don't think that I mean, it's really only in retrospect that I consider these things. Like when you're asking me, you know, it's not, well, I don't have like a lab coat on going through like, you know, I'm not making like a pro-con board in terms of like what kind of record to make next. It was, and I'm certainly, you're not suggesting that I was, but it's a funny mental image.
When you're on stage singing about these things every single night, these things that not only have you thought a lot about, but I can tell, you know, they can bring you down a little bit. Does this ever take a toll on you to play them every night after night?
Well, I haven't started yet. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, I don't think so, because that's not taking into account the fact that it's music.
Right.
You know, and music does very bizarre things when it comes to pain or isolation or sadness.
What can it do?
It can make them feel less painful and less isolating. Yeah. You know? Yeah. I mean, that's like what it's there for. Mm-hmm. And some of my, you know, I mean, just being a kid and falling in love with books, you know, you know, you're falling in love like with someone who's articulating something for you.
What's the most common misconception about you? If there's something you think people should get that they're not getting, you know, what is it?
Well, again, I'm not sure that we can, you know, the idea like, let's sit and reason together about me and I'll make a case for myself, you know. I don't know.
Or about your art, about your music.
Okay, I do think that if you don't approach this stuff with a certain sense of humor,
yeah,
then you're not going to get a whole lot out of it, you know? Like on almost every level, you know? I mean, my whole life I've had people saying to me that they don't know if I'm kidding or not, you know? Times when I thought it was like clearly just obvious that I was joking around, you
Yeah.
know, and you know, even I think it's because I don't have eyebrows, and because because when I think eyebrows are what communicate a lot of like.
Are you getting a shot of those eyebrows,
you know, like
right now?
you make
That's
like
great.
if you make a joke, if you're telling a joke, your eyebrows are doing quite a bit, are providing a lot of subtext.
Yeah, that's
and
it.
I have none.
That's it. And there's no eyebrows in a think piece.
So I think there's some of that, but my sense of humor is just very like inclusive, you know? Like with the Instagram thing, I'm just kind of clearly making fun of social media. And then there's an added layer of something that is like, well, it's pretty like impotently ironic to make fun of social media on social media. But it's like we're all in on this joke. Like I'm not thinking that anyone's looking at my Instagram or something going like, oh, cool. Hey, wait, oh, man. You know, like I don't make fun of people.
No.
And this is the sense of humor thing where it's like if you don't approach this song with the sense of humor and you look at it literally like Josh
Tillman hates these
Josh
people.
Tillman is going them and they whatever and forgetting that, you know, when you write, you have all these tools, you know, like you have tenses, you have like these things to create like a narrative, to create like a feeling. And maybe this is trying to take me somewhere that I don't know about yet.
We've got another song for you from Father John Misty coming up later in the show. But first, my conversation with Oscar-winning actor Anna Paquin. So how's this for a first audition? When Anna Paquin was 9 years old, she read for director Jane Campion. Out of 5,000 girls, she got the role of Flora McGrath in The Piano. It was a small production, but a massive hit with critics and audiences. Anna Paquin won an Oscar, and she was the second youngest winner ever. In the 20 years since then, she's worked a lot, from the X-Men universe to True Blood, and now she's on the CBC TV drama Bellevue. I spoke with her here in studio about her role as Detective Annie Ryder. Have a look. So I was watching the show last night, Saturday night, actually, I watched it. And the one thing that really occurs to me is that there's a lot going on within the show. Because it's about so many different things. It's about living in a small town. In many ways, it's about transgender issues. In many ways, it's a crime drama. In many ways, it's about religion. In many ways, it's about family. Like, at its core, what do you think the show's about?
I mean, at its core, it's a human drama. You know, the kind of some of the more flashy sort of aspects of it and, you know, the sort of the mystery and the crime and the whatever are the backdrop for it. But ultimately it becomes very much an exploration of these people and their choices and their relationships and, you know, how, you know, the actions that they take have consequences over many, many years. And it's more of a character piece, really, in a lot of ways, you know, and also it's very, very well written.
Yeah, it certainly is.
It's very, very well written. Jane Maggs is a wonderful, young, talented, kick-ass female writer.
From?
Newfoundland.
There we go. There we are. Nice part of the country there. I want to point that out. Shout out.
I think she's a little, like, you know, preferential.
To the Newfoundlanders. I'll take it. I have some other questions for you just about you.
Go for it.
And you were 11 when you won your Oscar.
I was.
Do you still think about that moment?
I mean, when people like you ask me about it, I do.
I guess I was thinking when I was 11 years old, no matter how cool the thing that it was happened to me, I probably don't remember it. And it was just kind of a blur of being 11. Like, I didn't necessarily want you to like take me back to that moment, but...
No, but literally, I get asked about it, and therefore I think about it, but I don't really... I don't like kind of sit around and go,
Yeah. You understand why people keep asking about it.
Oh, no, I get that.
Because it's kind of crazy.
It's a little nuts, yeah.
Yeah,
no, I get that. It's just... you know, it becomes something that it takes on its own kind of life outside of just being this very strange and kind of wonderful thing that happened to me like 2 decades ago.
You are an instance where you had a lot of success, unbelievable success, really, as a child actor, and you've consistently made films and made television since of a very, very high quality.
Thank you.
Can you theorize as to why you turned out this way and other child actors didn't?
My family life was very not swayed by the kind of acting industry thing of it all. That wasn't, you know, it was something I was allowed to do if I was still doing well in school and it wasn't like in any way negatively impacting my life. And, you know, that was important in my family. And, you know, the career was something that I was allowed to do if everything else was sort of, you know, being taken care of.
You said in the past, and I was reading quotes of yours, that, you know, your job has been your life. You've, quote, almost to a fault in the past, prioritized work over everything.
That was before I had kids. Well, I think it's also an age thing. You know, I think when you're a teenager or like in your early 20s, you kind of have the luxury of being slightly more self-absorbed and, you know, selfish.
Yeah. Sure. These kind of broad, sweeping analysis that people do of their careers, you seem to be just focused on the next thing you have to do.
Yeah.
Where do you attribute that to? Where does that come from?
For me, it's easier to just kind of see what comes, see what happens, see what opportunities come your way, and to try to enjoy them for what they are, as opposed to going, well, it wasn't this, or it wasn't big enough or special enough, or, you know, it's like, well, it is what it is, and you can enjoy it or not, and it's kind of up to you.
And that's a very inspiring thing to hear, and thanks for talking to me.
Thank you for having me.
Betting Taylor Swift every night inside the Oculus Rift, after Mr. and the Mrs. finish dinner and the dishes. Now the features definition is so much higher than it was last year. It's like the images have all become real. Someone's living my life for me out in the mirror. Believe how far we've come in the new age. Freedom to have what you want. In the new age we'll all be entertained. Rich or poor, the channels are all the same. You're a star now, baby, so dry your tears. Just like them, waking up from the nightmare. Na 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 na. Come on, oh, 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 oh. No myths to prove stuff, no love to confuse us. Not bad for a race of demented monkeys. From a cave to a city to a permanent party. Come on, oh, 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 oh. The historians find us, we'll be in our homes, plugged into our hubs, skin and bones, a frozen smile on every face. As the stories replay, this must have been a wonderful place.
When Q continues, Father John Misty has more music for you. But first, Amélie Beyries will tell you what a serious illness taught her about rejection. We all have our passion projects. Maybe it's baking bread or building miniature train sets or playing cards or putting together puzzles. Things we love to do but just don't seem like they would make for a career. Though, professional puzzler, I'd be into it. For a long time, that's how Amélie Beyries felt about music. She loved writing songs, but it wasn't something she could see herself doing full-time or professionally. That all began to change when Amélie, who goes by her last name, Beyries, was diagnosed with breast cancer when she was 28. After a year of treatment, the cancer came back and she had to fight again. And out of that came a song called Soldier, which would lead to her debut album, Landing. It's about her fight with cancer. And that's where we started our conversation, when Beyries recently dropped by our studio. How are you?
Very good.
Thank you for being here.
Very happy about it.
I want to talk a little bit about that song. That one song you wrote while you were fighting cancer. It's called Soldier. Mm-hmm. We're going to listen to it in a moment. But before we do, take me back to when you wrote it. What was happening at that time?
I just had finished my treatments. I always dreamt of having this country house, so I just had the chance to buy it and bring my grandmother's piano. Mm-hmm. And I had my dog, the forest, everything was in place. And I started to go back to the piano, like in a very personal way.
What do you mean by that?
Like this relationship I have with the instrument, which is personal. I don't know how to say it.
But it's not just a tool. It's not just a tool for making something. You feel.
No, I really have a relationship.
You feel something very, very. Well, I understand that you feel something very personal, something very close towards this instrument, this tool.
Well, I'm always like when I got in here, it's like I'm attracted to the object. I'm attracted to the instrument.
I know when you walked in, you were kind of eyeing it.
Yeah.
And I said, you can just go over and play it. You said, no. Then you went in it. You went over and played it.
Yeah. I love it.
So
it's the best. It's just the best object in the world. It just like it imposes some elegance and class. I just like it.
Yeah, I love it too.
Beautiful.
Having lived with people, having spent time with people who are undergoing cancer treatments, quite often it's challenging to get up. It's challenging to lift your head off the pillow.
Yep.
It's challenging to eat a meal. It's challenging to watch television. Mm-hmm. It's challenging to have a conversation, much less sit at the piano and write a song. Mm-hmm. How did that come about?
Well, I was not doing my chemo treatments at the time, so I had a little bit more energy. Mm-hmm. And it was just soothing for me to play. And some lyrics came, and I just wrote it down, and it became Soldier. It became the song that it is right now. But
Does joy feel different now after you survive something like cancer?
I feel it much more deeply, maybe. And I have a lot of gratitude maybe towards that feeling. Much more connected maybe. I can only imagine that the little things seem bigger. You're sensitive, much more. I feel much more sensitive now than I was before.
But you know what? To go against that, in many ways, you're less sensitive because you were writing this music and it wasn't getting out there, and you weren't sending it to people, and you were kind of writing it for yourself. And you talked a little bit about that leap of dealing with your nerves to send this off to someone and kind of being scared. It's one thing to send it to one person, and it's one thing to send it to 4 or 5 friends, and it's one thing for those 5 friends to send it to their 5 friends. But this is a beautiful record. It's getting a lot of attention, and it's only going to get more. As someone who was a little bit afraid to put it out there first, how are you feeling about this record right now and the fact that so many people are going to get to hear these songs?
I feel very good about it.
Yeah.
Just because people are so kind. I receive so much messages and so much encouragement and love. So, I'm just happy to connect with people. I think I needed to connect, and I didn't know how really. And when the song's starting to be like going around, people are coming back to me, and it's just like felt right.
And we talked a little bit about risk earlier. Like it feels like it was worth the payoff was worth the risk.
Oh yeah, way off. Yeah,
well, it's a beautiful record. I want to thank you for coming in.
Thank you so much.
We've got another special unplugged performance from Father John Misty for you when Q returns. We're going to leave you today with this, let's say, unique performance of things it would have been helpful to know before the revolution from Father John Misty's latest record, Pure Comedy. Remember, for more performances, uncut interviews, full episodes of QTV, pay us a visit at cbc.ca/Q. I'm Tom Power. Later on.
1, 2. Got too hot, and so we overthrew the system. 'Cause there's no place for human existence like right here on this bright blue marble, orbited by trash. Man, there's no beating that. It was no big thing to give up the way of life we had. Oh. My social life is now quite a bit less hectic. The nightlife and the protests are pretty scarce. I mostly spend the long days walking through the city, empty as a tomb. Sometimes I miss the top of the food chain, but what a perfect afternoon. Commerce toppled to their knees, the gears of progress halted, the underclass set free, the super ego shatters with our ideologies, the obscene injunction to enjoy life disappears as in a dream, and as we return to our native state, to our primal scene, the temperature, it started dropping, the ice floes began to freeze. Time to time, we all get a bit restless with no one advertising to us constantly. The tribe at the former airport some nights has been dancing. If you don't mind gathering and hunting, all still pretty good eating on the run. Things that would have been helpful to know before the revolution. Though I'll admit some degree of resentment for the sudden lack of convenience around here, but there are some visionaries among us developing some products to aid us in our struggle to survive on this godless rock that refuses to die.